Hello everyone, Ross the music teacher here. I've got my new classroom set up, which means I can start making some videos. This is really great news for both you and me. So sorry I've been gone for a while, but I'm coming back in to give you some tips on how to learn multiple instruments and be a multi-instrumentalist. This question comes from my Patreon supporter, Akil. You can join my Patreon by clicking the link below. After I post this video, for my other Patreon members, I'm going to be posting another post asking you your questions. So if you want to drop me your questions, go ahead and do that, and we'll see if we can get them all answered. So I'm going to give you three kind of big tips on learning multiple instruments. I play multiple instruments myself, and I do find it sometimes to be a bit of a struggle to keep up on practice with all of them. I've been having a struggle with practice in general as of late. But we're going to go through some of the things that I've found really helpful for learning multiple instruments. Number one, and this is the most important thing, you need to understand that every instrument relates to other instruments through music. So if you work on your musical foundation, then a new instrument is not nearly as daunting of a task as you might think. That means counting rhythm, doing ear training, knowing your music theory. Of course, you guys know I'm big on that. And learning to sing as well is a really smart way to handle all of that. Now, that really gets at one of the roots of what this channel is all about, which is being a musician more than just an instrumentalist. 2, get a looper. Loopers are excellent tools for learning to not only jam along with people, but also learn how to fit your instruments in with each other. Again, every instrument has overlap in terms of what they do because they all adhere to the principles of music. So if you're using a looper, then you can very easily figure out how these instruments fit in together. You can play those multiple roles and not just in isolation, because if everything's in isolation, then there's just a lot more to get done, and there are only so many minutes in the day. Number 3 is stick to your practice schedule. Do a certain amount of each instrument every day, and don't do extra on any given instrument until all of your stuff is done for both or all 3 or all 4 or 5 instruments, whatever number of instruments you play. It's really important. Stick to your practice schedule. And I found as of late that it's not just an amount of time that's helpful, over here, but it's an amount of repetition that is helpful. So when I work on my voice every day, I do 40 repetitions of something. When I work on my guitar every day, I typically do about 100. And if I work on my cello, I typically do about 50 to 100, depending on the day. Now, this is a cumulative effort, and you'll get better at each instrument as you go, and you'll also find that each instrument's going to strengthen the others a little bit. Now, that's not to say that if you specialize, you won't get better. If you specialize on an instrument and you stick with only that instrument, chances are you'll be better at that instrument than if you don't kind of dilute your efforts. But to be honest, to get to a point to sound good on an instrument, that doesn't mean you need to master the instrument. Mastering the instrument is another level, and I'm actually even wondering if it's even necessary for most people. So sometimes you need to get the skills that you need, and then if you have them, most music that is good to listen to isn't like the most difficult. And then when you get into the more difficult music, like classical music or heavy metal or things that just require a lot of technique and a lot of rhythm, you'll find that actually fewer people listen to that stuff. So it's kind of up to you how far you take each instrument, but if you're going to do multiple instruments, find a balance, find where you want to get with each instrument. Don't plan on mastering every single one of them, And always, always, always pay attention to musical fundamentals. Quick announcement, musictheoryinonelesson.com is about halfway done now. So I just uploaded the chapter on inversions. So if you want to learn about inversions and get on some music theory today, musictheoryinonelesson.com is live. I coded it myself, and I'm very proud of the way it's going. So if you guys find any bugs or want to give me any feedback, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm going to look for some more suggestions from my Patreons in my Patreon for more advice to give young or budding musicians. Have a good one, guys.